Hello, and welcome to Finding Your Light Within. In this episode, we're going to take a look at dreams. We'll explore why your dreams matter. I'll prove to you that dreams can come true, even in the most unlikely of ways. I'll discuss the consequences of achieving a dream, the good and the not so good. And finally, I'll talk about the steps that you can take right now to realise your own dream, no matter how big or how small it may be. If you are new here, I'm Andy and this is Finding Your Light Within. This channel is dedicated to exploring what it means to live a fulfilled life and to helping you to achieve it. Please take a moment to subscribe. It's free, it's easy, and it helps to grow the channel and achieve my goal of helping as many people as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and let YouTube know. And do leave me a comment to let me know your own thoughts on the topic of pursuing your dreams. Thank you so much for your kindness. A dream will remain a dream unless an action is taken that pulls it from your imagination and brings it into your waking reality. Everyone has dreams. As young children, our imaginations run wild. We're daring adventurers, facing and overcoming huge adversities, striving forth into the great unknown. We fight armies and battles, monsters and demons. We face overwhelming odds, and we win out time and time again. We imagine ourselves as professional sports people, excelling in our field, winning Olympic gold medals. As painters, writers, doctors, surgeons, policemen, teachers, actors, dancers, singers. We dream big. The world is a place of endless possibilities and options. There's nothing that we cannot accomplish, and we feel sure of it. Then something changes. Reality starts to set in, doesn't it? Our dreams begin to diminish. We're told we can't be that. We can't do that. It's impossible. It's not for the likes of you. You need a job. You need to get a career. You have to earn money. Pay your way. What you need to do is something normal, something sensible. And little by little, like rocks smoothed and shaped by the water, our dreams fade and eventually become forgotten. But your dreams, they never truly disappear. When I was younger, I dreamt of becoming a professional snooker player. I was besotted with the sport at the time. I used to dress up in a waistcoat, chalk up my cue, and I'd play for hours and hours on my small snooker table at home. I dreamt of being scouted and selected to play for my beloved Ipswich Town Football Club. Had this dream of working for IBM, the company for which my dad worked. On some weekends, I'd accompany him to the office. He would work and I would draw pictures, and we'd both listen to the football on the radio. I even wrote a letter to IBM asking what qualifications I needed to obtain a job there. And I cherished the response I received with the 3-letter logo embossed at the top of the letterhead. Later on in life, I dreamed of living on a tropical beach, golden sand arcing into the distance, and palm trees all around. Mixed into all of these was the dream of adventure, being out of doors, scaling mountains, traversing valleys, exploring, living in nature, just being out there, And then came the dream of falling madly in love, settling down with my wife and children. But unfortunately, not all dreams come true, do they? But some do. Sometimes there's huge amounts of luck involved. It's almost as though the universe was conspiring to make it happen. You see, I flunked out of school and I started working in the local factory on the production line the day before my 17th birthday. The factory was the largest employer in town at the time, and they always needed people to man the production lines. I thought I was doing the right thing, rebelling, taking the easy option. But I was wrong, very wrong. I quickly realised I'd messed up big time. I threw away my education. I dropped out of completing my A-level maths and physics at school. And that was something that haunted me in the months to come. After a few weeks, I realised my mistake, but by then it was too late. School had restarted after the summer break. I would have been even further behind in my studies. I found myself out of my depth, clueless and lost, in a world that I really didn't understand. It took me 6 months to fix that situation. That was 6 months of constant interviews and rejections. Nobody wanted to employ a quitter. But then one day my luck turned. I interviewed for a job in an accounting office at the local factory that I worked at. I don't know what got into me that afternoon as I sat in the office having an interview with Roger, who was the office manager. But for some reason, I don't think I even decided actually. I think I just felt it was the right thing to do was to be honest. And so I opened up to Roger and I told him the truth. I confessed that I'd made a terrible mistake in leaving school, that I'd messed up, and that all of the absentee cards on the table in front of us, or the clock cards that you got when you took a day off, those were mostly because I was having interviews and looking for jobs. I was doing everything I could to escape my situation. I was honest, and I was the real me. And I think that was probably the first time that I ever opened up truthfully to somebody. Thankfully, Roger gave me a shot. He gave me the opportunity to make amends, and I seized it immediately. After almost 8 years, I moved on from that job. I'd become the office manager, replacing Roger, and I now held an accounting qualification that I'd earned by going to night school after work. At the time, I was living with my partner, and unfortunately, she'd been made redundant from her job. I went with her one evening to a local job fair at a hotel in the nearest city to us. She went off to talk to people and get information, and I sat and, well, I just grew very bored, to be honest. I had nothing to do, and I wasn't particularly looking for work. I had a job that I was enjoying at the time. But because I was so bored, I stopped by an employment agency and I decided I'd fill in an application form just to while away some time. I didn't think anything of it until a few weeks later when I was sitting at my desk at work and my phone rang. The voice at the other end of the line said, "We have a job that we think you'd be suitable for. Are you still looking?" I was kind of intrigued, even though I wasn't looking for a job, so I lied. I said, yes, I am. The woman told me the details, and the job, it sounded very interesting. Can I ask for which company? It's at IBM, came the reply. The following week, I attended an interview. I walked into the offices at IBM in Portsmouth, in England. As I walked through the doors and got into the elevator, I said to the person taking me up for the interview how strange it was that I was in this elevator many, many years before as a young boy coming to work with my father. I'd secured the position. They offered me the job, which of course I took. And my life changed drastically because of it. And it led to the realization of another childhood dream. But how that happened and the circumstances that led to it, I'll cover in a different video. But what is important to realize is that dreams can and do come true as long as we never forget them. Here's the thing that I find so very inspiring and beautiful. My personal experiences tell me that our dreams never truly die. They always remain with us. Buried, yes, sometimes very deeply, but they're always there, persisting at the edge of our consciousness. Why? I believe it's because our dreams represent our true nature. They're encapsulated within our DNA. To quest for our dreams is the life force that drives us forward. To seek, to strive, to excel, to become, to grow, to evolve. To follow your dreams, then, is a quest to pursue the true you. I created another dream some years ago. It involved a boat, some scuba tanks, being an anchor just off a golden sand beach, palm tree lined and tropical. It's a dream that speaks to me of freedom, of adventure, and of pursuing my true calling, the ocean. For many years it was an impossible dream, a dream that lay beyond my comprehension and my ability to realise. But nonetheless, it sat with me as a constant companion, never fading away, lurking in the inner transoms of my mind, biding its time, waiting for the right moment in which to resurface and make its presence known. Now that dream has come back. When we think of our dream, it can be too big. It can seem gigantic, impossible to realise, too far away, out of our realm of capacity to make it happen. I've spoken before about the mountain. When we're faced with the mountain before us, that prospect is very daunting. It's too steep or it's too high, and it's too far to travel. It's too arduous a proposition. There's too much that has to be done in order to make it to the top of the summit. When confronted with mountains, many people turn away. They understand the difficulty in reaching the top. But the summit is not actually our aim. Our aim is only to take one step forward towards it. One step towards where you wish to go. One step closer to achieving your goal, your dream. So the trick is not to focus on the mountain, but to set our sights on how to take one step closer towards it. That's all we need to do. Once we've taken that step, we set ourselves in motion. And motion begets motion. In a previous video, I'll put a link below in the description for you, I spoke about Newton's law, his law of inertia, and how that applies to each of us. I like to think that as physical objects, I believe that we too are governed by the universe's law of physics. So once in motion, we are more likely to stay in motion. But in order to gain that motion in the first place, we must overcome the inertia, the force that keeps us in a state of rest. So that first step, that vital first step, is the one that sets us in motion. That step is always going to be the hardest to achieve. But here's the thing. After you've achieved that step, everything else that follows is easier. Because you're already in motion, you're already working your way forwards. And an object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by another force. So what does that tell us? It tells us that to begin the quest of achieving your dream, you must just take one step towards it, no matter how small or how insignificant that step seems at the time. It is one step closer nonetheless. This is my sailing dream, a dream of life on the ocean, a place that I think of as my natural home. Last week, I took my first step towards that dream. I spent 2 days with a company called Great Escape Sailing in the Bay of Islands of New Zealand, gaining my Yachting New Zealand Level 1 qualification in the process. But more importantly, I got the experience of what it was actually like to sail on a yacht, on a boat, something that I've never done before. So why does this matter? Well, firstly, I tested out my feeling for sailing. Was it something that I really wished to pursue in reality? I had to find out, otherwise my dream would remain a dream. Secondly, that was my first step, which I've now taken. I'm now in motion. I have some ideas. My dream is no longer just a construct of my imagination. I have lived experience to pull from. I've begun to pull my dream from the ethereal realm and manifest it in my reality. What happens next? I have to consider my next step and how far I'm going to take it. I want to take it all the way. I feel it. I deeply feel it. And so that's what I'm going to pursue. I took my first step and I've put myself in motion. So what are the consequences of achieving your dreams? The good is that when you do reach your goal and you achieve your dream, you're going to feel euphoric. It's a giddy feeling of elation, satisfaction, accomplishment. It feels like you're weightless, capable of flying. It's a high, an adrenaline-fueled richness. For the rest of your life, you know that you did something. You achieved it. And nobody, no matter what happens, can take that away from you. You're always going to have the memories in here. The bad side is that realising your dream is actually a scary business. Once you do realise your dream and the momentary euphoria disappears, and it will, you're left with an emptiness, a void where your dream once resided, a gaping hole that needs to be filled by something else. A new project is needed, another dream needs to be worked upon. I recall the time 12 years ago that I cycled around New Zealand. On the first day, I can vividly remember looking down at the panniers on the front of my bike and the tarmac rushing by underneath the tyres. I felt an upwelling of euphoria. of this huge elation, and I burst into the biggest grin ever. I'm doing it, I said. I'm actually freaking doing it. And I yelled that out to nobody, to the cars on the road beside me. Yelp, I screamed. And I knew that I was realizing my dream. But not only realizing it, I was living it in that very moment. 3 months and 5,000 kilometres later, I sighted the Auckland Sky Tower again, and I knew I'd accomplished my goal. The dream was realised. It was no longer a dream, it was my lived reality. Again, I experienced the euphoria, and it stayed with me all the way from the outskirts of Auckland into the centre of the city. I reached my hotel for the evening and I unloaded the bike, and then I sat down on the bed, and I remember this really clearly. I sat down and the euphoria, it just vanished. I was alone and there was nobody to celebrate with me. Nobody knew what I'd just accomplished. The dream was over, and in its place there was nothing. My project was over. It was completed. All I had was a head and a heart full of the memories of what I'd seen and experienced and accomplished. And I had nothing else. All of the work I'd put in to prepare and organise and plan for the trip and then to make itself was gone. What remained was a feeling of emptiness where all of that had once been. I was no longer the guy cycling around New Zealand. And now I was, well, that was the problem. I was back to nothing. Just an empty feeling that needed to be filled. I needed a new dream, a new project to work towards. So achieving your dream is dangerous because once you reach the goal, you're left with two outcomes. You know you have the power to achieve your dreams, but also you now have to move on to the next dream because you know you're capable of fulfilling them. So why must you achieve your dreams? Well, living out your dreams is not for the faint-hearted. It takes hard work, determination and sacrifice. What I can tell you is this: every moment that you are working towards your dream is a moment that's lived in harmony with your true self. Everything that you do comes from a deep place inside of you. I like to think of that place as the place of love, pure, unconditional, unadulterated love. The place from which our life force grows. When you go on a quest to pursue your dream, you're growing and you're evolving. And that is exactly what life is all about. It's the evolution business. Life wants to be more and to be better. And you are life, so you owe it to yourself to do that too. To grow, to evolve, be more, be better. How do you achieve your dream? Well, here's a challenge for you. First thing, you need to focus on your dream. Decide what it is. It does not matter how silly or how outrageous it seems. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Their opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't count. It has to be your dream. That's vitally important. Our dreams must always be our own. Write down what your dream is. What is it that you wish to do? What is it that you want to accomplish? That action of writing it down solidifies it. It makes it into a tangible thing. It creates a sense of reality And by writing it down, you honour your dream and you voice it out loud. Once you've written it down and acknowledged it, think about something, one thing that you could do that would help you to take a step towards it, towards achieving it. So for me, it was to try sailing. When I decided to become a school teacher in New Zealand, my first step was to apply for university for my teacher's college place. Until I had done those things, my dream could never become true. So create a first step. What could that first step be? Well, it could just be some reading and research. Find out as much as you can about what it is that you want to do. Watch some YouTube videos to see how other people have achieved a dream. Learn a skill that's associated with your dream. You could sell an item and use the money to help fund your goal. You could begin the process of downsizing. I made a video on that as well. I'll put a link below for you in the description. Buy something that you need to help you fulfill your dream. Book yourself onto an experience like I did with the sailing. Find out what it's really like. But whatever it is, do one simple thing. One thing that's easily accomplished and it helps you take one step towards your goal. One thing that sets you in motion. One thing that brings you one step, no matter how big or how small that step, that brings you closer to the mountain. I do hope that this video on achieving your dreams has been useful. Please do leave me a comment or let me know what your dream is. What step are you going to take towards achieving your dream? Or maybe you've already taken a step. Let me know in the comments what that step was. I'd love to hear from you. I promise that I will respond with any encouragement, help and support that I'm able to give to you. I'll always do that if it lies in my ability to do so. I want you to succeed. I'm on your side. Thank you so much for watching. Please do take a moment to subscribe and tap the like button to let YouTube know that you found this video helpful. Until the next time, keep on finding your own light within. Goodbye.